Hey, let me guess, you've got big tests coming up and no matter how much you study, it feels like the information just won't stick. Or maybe you tell yourself, I'll study later, and then suddenly it's midnight and you've been on TikTok for the last 8 hours. Sound familiar? Well, you might be making some super common study mistakes that are holding you back, but don't worry, we're gonna fix that today. So here on my laptop, I've written down 15 study mistakes that you might be doing and the simple ways to turn them around. Stick with me because some of these at the end are so good that they transform me into a straight A student. Let's go. Alright, mistake number 1, skipping sleep to study. First up, the most dangerous mistake, pulling an all-nighter right before an exam. It feels productive, right? But it's actually one of the worst things you can do. Sleep is like a food to your brain, and without sleep, your brain struggles to store everything you've learned. You'll feel foggy and you'll miss key details. So the fix to this is getting 8 hours of sleep, especially the night before an exam. I know you might feel unproductive and you're like, why am I wasting precious time? But trust me, if you do this trick, it's gonna work better than pulling an all-nighter. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna write information on a flashcard right before you go to bed, like when you're in bed, for example. Just go through the flashcards before you go to sleep and then go to sleep. I use this trick all the time when I do theater, and a few years ago I had to do The Little Prince, and I was the Little Prince and I had 4 days to memorize the script because I procrastinated so bad, and I used this trick and I memorize the whole thing. So I'd say this trick works pretty well. Mistake number 2, not having a clear plan. Do you usually just sit down and study without a plan and you were just hoping to figure it out as you go? But actually that's wasting a lot of valuable time. Basically, your brain gets tricked into being more relaxed when you don't have a plan. So the fix to this is to write a simple to-do list before each session. What topic will you cover? How long will you spend on each plan? And for this, I have a very good tip that I started using this year. Let's say you predict your exam is gonna have like, let's say 10 questions, right? And then you have 1 hour, so then that means you have around 6 minutes-ish to spend on each question. But when you're practicing, I think you should like cut down the time to half at least. So even if the exam or test is way harder, you will still have like double the amount of time that you usually have, and that's gonna make the whole test easier. So what you can do is make a little timer, like a 3-minute timer or a 5-minute timer for each question that you do. After you finish each question, just redo the timer. I swear this helped me because my grades at the start of this year in physics, like, I don't even think I should say it. As a study tuber, it was kind of rough, guys. Right now it's Saturday. I just did a test yesterday, and guess what, guys? I got a 100 in physics, so I was really happy, and guess what? I finished the test in less than 30 minutes. Mistake number 3, cramming the night before. So this kind of ties in with my first point, but we've all done it, like sitting down the night before an exam and you try to shove everything into your head, but cramming is a terrible way to learn because your brain doesn't actually have time to absorb the information. Like, yes, you might be able to memorize a few terms and just like spit it out during the exam. Whatever you memorize doesn't really work. So they'll ask you something like maybe logical and then you have like multiple choice. At least that's what happens in my school. And then if you like try to cram, then you're kind of screwed for the test if it's like asking you about the logics and not just anything you've memorized. So the fix to this is to try to study a little bit every single day, like super basic. But I think many students end up procrastinating until like the day before the exam, and then yeah. I know I sound like your parents or your teacher, but like actually just do it. Studying isn't that fun, but getting good grades is fun. Mistake number 4, multitasking while studying. So here's the harsh truth. You can't study while watching a YouTube video at the same time. Multitasking divides your attention and makes it harder to retain anything. So the fix is to turn off your notifications, or even better yet, throw your phone into the other room. So number 5, studying in the wrong environment. So be honest, sometimes you study in your bed or with Netflix in the background. These environments trick your brain into relaxing and not focusing. So the fix is to set up a study-friendly space. A clean desk in a quiet spot works the best. If you're in a noisy house, try noise-canceling headphones or earbuds, or even try studying at school or at the library. Mistake number 6, highlighting everything. Highlighters feel productive, but if you highlight the whole thing, then you're doing it wrong. For me at least, highlighting is just something to make the words stand out more, so I pay more attention. But when I highlight stuff, it doesn't really like stick to my brain. So a solution could be only highlight key points like main ideas or formulas, or try to use different colors. Like, I've already said this before, but I use pink for very important, like I cannot miss this, green for general notes, and a brown highlighter for questions that I just don't understand. Then after highlighting, you can rewrite them into your own words and this makes your brain work harder and actually helps you learn. Mistake number 7, skipping practice tests. Many students avoid practice tests because they're too hard or too much work. Practice tests are one of the best ways to prepare for an exam, especially if you make yourself a 1-hour time limit. Mistake number 8, just reading instead of practicing. Are you spending hours just reading and rereading your notes? It feels like studying, it feels productive, but it's actually super passive and your brain isn't really engaging with the material. This is actually one of my favorite hacks. So you read one page and then you turn it around and you take a whiteboard or something and you write everything you know for sure in one color, everything you're not sure about in another color, and then after that you're going to take a third color and you're going to correct everything. Mistake number 9, overloading on resources. If you jump between 5 textbooks, 10 YouTube videos, and 3 websites, that might be a little overwhelming. It feels like you're doing a lot, but you're just wasting time. So the fix is to pick 2 or 3 reliable sources and stick to them. Mistake number 10, ignoring the hard subjects. Nobody likes tackling the hard topics, but avoiding them is a recipe for a last-minute stress. So the fix is to start your study sessions with the hardest topics because that's when your brain's more fresh. Mistake number 11, memorizing without understanding. This one's pretty self-explanatory, and the really good tip I have for you guys is literally ask your teacher or ask even ChatGPT. Type like, oh, this is my subject, I need to study for this, I'm in this grade and I already understand like the number questions, but can you ask me questions about the logics and without numbers? And this way you'll know if you actually understand the subject or if you just memorized how to answer questions. I feel like I'm gonna lose my voice, so I'm gonna take a water break. Mistake number 12, skipping revision. This is when you only study the things you just learned, but then you end up on the test and you don't remember anything that happened. The fix is to once in a while just look back onto your notes and practice some of the earlier questions. Mistake number 13, not asking for help. Are you struggling with a topic but too shy to ask for help? Sadly, staying stuck on something wastes your time. A few months ago, I would like not ask a lot of questions because I felt bad. Like I kept asking my teacher like for help and I didn't want to be annoying. You just have to like come to terms with you're literally going to school to learn. And the teachers are there to help you learn. They're getting paid to teach how to learn. So why would you feel ashamed or feel shy to ask questions? The fix is you can reach out to your teachers after class or on email to help you like during lunch or maybe after school. You can also join a study group or find online tutorials. The more you ask questions, the more you're stepping out of your comfort zone. You'll actually feel more comfortable asking for questions. That might help other people to feel comfortable to ask their own questions. Okay, we're coming down to the last 2 study tips. I'm proud of you for staying this long. Mistake number 14 is studying long hours without breaks. Ever try to study for 4 hours straight only to find out that you've been zoning out for half of it? Long sessions lead to burnout, not productivity. Look at this graph, for example. The fix is find out how much time you can study without getting tired. For some people, it's like the pomodoro technique, like 25 minutes. For me personally, I like studying for like 40 minutes and then taking a 10-minute break and then 40, then 10. And last but not least, mistake number 15, ignoring feedback. When you get your test back and you see maybe you've made a few mistakes, do you skip reviewing them or do you not bring them home? That's a big mistake because your errors are the key to improving. But I know many of you guys, just like me, your teachers might not let you bring your tests home. What you can do is you can ask your teacher if you can take pictures first of all. If they say no, then you can also jot down the questions. You write all of your missed questions into a notebook so that you can review and take time to analyze what went wrong with it and try to fix it. And then practice with similar problems until you nail it. And this study tip is actually from my mom, who also used to be a straight A student. So thank you, Mom. So which of these mistakes have you been making? Let me know in the comments down below. You can also leave some study tips down below so that we can all help each other out. I really hope this video was helpful to you, and if it was, then you can like this video, subscribe, and hit the bell so that you don't miss any more study tips. You've got this. Let's go get those 100s.